As faculty, we ask students to think critically, engage deeply, and manage complex learning tasks. But in our focus on course content, here's a truth we often overlook. Students can't learn effectively when they don't feel safe. And this has everything to do with how the brain works. Any attempt to simplify the brain falls short of its complex reality, but neuroscience provides a helpful framework here of essentially two brains in one. One is what Dr. Jacob Ham and others refer to as the survival brain, and the other is the learning or thinking brain. Survival brain is primitive and evolutionarily much older than our learning brain. Survival brain is wired to detect threat and keep us alive. When activated, it floods the body with stress hormones, equipping us to fight or to flee. In this state, higher cortical functions like reasoning, delaying gratification, prioritizing tasks, and abstract thinking go offline. It's referred to as the amygdala hijack because of how perceived threat that crosses a certain threshold seizes executive functioning. In contrast, the learning brain has access to the whole brain because the prefrontal cortex is available, and as Bruce Perry says, it's open for business. Curiosity and engagement replace fear, and in this state, learning thrives. By safety, we don't mean absence of stress. In fact, a certain amount of stress stimulates learning engagement by promoting alertness and executive function. So safety does not mean no stress at all, but an absence of threat response activation that suspends access to our thinking brain. For many college students, especially those with experiences of marginalization, systemic violence such as racism and poverty, or with trauma histories, the threat response is more highly tuned up. Additionally, many college students walk into classrooms with elevated stressors from threats to their financial, personal, and community well-being. Indeed, the classroom itself has been experienced by many students as a site of bullying, silencing, and shame. Here are some of the behaviors correlated to an activated threat response: spacing out, fear of speaking in class, not raising a hand or participating, and attendance issues. Survival brain fears getting things wrong or making mistakes. Ambiguity and uncertainty are negatively charged because the unknown can be threatening. This kind of silent threat response condition is the survival brain behavior we see most often in higher education. The good news? Faculty can create conditions that help calm the survival brain and re-engage the learning brain. It's not rocket science, it's brain science, and you probably already engage in these everyday trauma-informed practices because they are just good teaching. Clear structure and consistent communication, predictable routines, opportunities for choice, moments of connection and affirmation. These strategies don't lower standards or preclude academic rigor. They build conditions that research demonstrates are less likely to activate the threat response, thus removing barriers to meeting learning outcomes. By cultivating safety and trust, we help students stay regulated, engaged, take risks, and manage the inevitable setbacks and obstacles as part of the learning process. Teaching isn't just about content delivery. It's also about creating learning environments where the brain is ready to learn. When we recognize the signs of survival mode and respond with empathy and structure, we don't just support targeted individual students. We elevate the learning experience for everyone. Faculty and students are empowered to be allies in the learning endeavor when we better appreciate how we are hardwired to learn, connect, and problem solve together.